This week I did no training. I had a full rest week following the end of my indoor season so that I can rest and recover and be ready to train for outdoors. Welcome to episode 27 of Breaking 7. If you're new here, my name's Harvey. I'm a UK based sprinter and I was aiming to break 7 seconds in the 60 metre sprint, indoor season just gone 2025. If you've been following my journey, you'll know that I didn't quite meet this goal, as the fastest I ran in the 2025 indoor season was 7.12. This was a new PB, so things are moving in the right direction and we'll be going for that sub 7 next year. As the indoor season's over, I thought I'd do a quick review of my season and training, just looking back on everything that I've done, some challenges I faced, and also to see if there's anything I can improve for next year. Let's get straight into the video. So I actually ended my 2024 season last year a little bit early. I ended it in mid-August as I was experiencing some injuries. I had 2 full weeks of rest and recovery at the end of August 2024, and then I took the whole of September to build up in a sort of off-season, general preparation period style of training. And my weekly routine was looking at Monday, I was doing an upper body push workout and some hills. Tuesday, I was doing a lower body push workout. Wednesday, I did a core session. Thursday, I did an upper body pull workout and a grass tempo session. Friday I did a lower body pull workout, and then Saturday and Sunday, the whole weekend, I rested. I did this over 4 weeks for the whole of September, and I started very slow, very light, and the goal was to slowly build up the speed and slowly increase the weights so that I was ready for some proper sprint training in October. I also took a deload on the 4th week, which is something I tried to do throughout the season. Then I got into the winter training, and this was October, November. The routine switched up a little bit, so I started off with Monday I was doing an upper body strength workout, and then I was doing sleds or hills in the evening. Tuesday I did a lower body power session. Wednesday I rested, and then Thursday I did an upper body power session and I did some tempo at the track, followed by a lower body strength session on Friday and a grass tempo session on Saturday, resting Sunday. This then progressed a little bit as my Monday hills sled session that I was doing on the grass went onto the track, because the clocks went back in the UK and I had to go to the track to use the floodlights. I also progressed Thursday into a faster and faster session, building it up into a top speed track session where I was mainly looking at the 10 metre fly. Again, following the same sort of progression as September, I was looking at increasing the speed, increasing the weights, and having a deload week every 4th week. Towards the end of October, I actually got a new 10 metre fly in trainers. I got a 0.96 10 metre fly. And I did this between the 40 and 50 metre mark. That's actually still my 10 metre fly PB, and it's in trainers, so I thought I would have beaten this by now. But that's something we're going to have to sort out in the summer. I also hit lots and lots of PBs in the gym in November. I got a new 97.5 kg bench press PB, I got a new 135 kg squat PB, and a 142.5 kg deadlift PB. Also got into the Olympic lifts a little bit this year. I have kind of done them in the past, but I've really put them as part of my routine this year. And I got a 60 kg snatch and an 80 kg clean. Towards the end of November, I was really starting to pick up the speed on the track, and I got a few PBs. I got a new PB between 50 and 60 meters of 0.97, which is the closest I got to the 0.96 PB. I did a 60 meter time trial right at the end of November and got a 7.31. And then I also got a 2.03 10 meter PB. Both the 60 and the 10 are both with reaction time. Then after a couple of months of doing proper sprint training, I had a holiday planned to Australia, and I also did some warm weather training. I think my thoughts going into this were that I was going to run a lot faster because it was warm. However, I didn't really take into consideration the jet lag. The jet lag did really hit me on the way there and the way back, and about halfway through I got food poisoning. So there wasn't really a good stretch where I was in a state to perform. We had lots of sightseeing to do, lots of activities planned. Had a great time on the holiday, but I just think I expected to run a little bit faster. Ran a couple of 7.4s for the 60 meters, having just run 7.31 in the cold back in the UK in November. And then I did a 100 meter time trial and I got an 11.47. It's the only 100 meters I've done so far this year, so we'll be bringing that back into training for the outdoors and see if we can beat it. Did go to the Sydney Olympic Park, which was really cool. And we also got Joe and Gina, who we were staying with in Australia, to do a 100 meter time trial, which you can see in the non-sprinters run the 100 meters series on my channel. Then I came back, and around Christmas, New Year time, I was jet lagged, getting back into things. Training wasn't going amazingly well, but I was getting things done, building back up. And we had Luke and Chris do a 100 metre time trial as well, which is episode 2 of Non-Sprinters Run 100 metres. For the whole training so far, I was still struggling a little bit with hamstrings and posterior tibialis tendons. That's where I had issues mainly last year, sort of this bit of my leg, and it's sort of like a shin splint tendonitis type thing, and also my hamstring. So I've kind of been managing that with volume load, recovery exercises, physio exercises, and hopefully that will be completely subsided now for the outdoors. I did open my season in mid-Jan. I got a 7.24, 7.25, and I was very happy with this because the fastest I ran in 2024 was 7.26. So immediately a small increase there. Not as quick as my PB back from 2022 of 7.14, which was my first ever 60. So I was determined to beat that this year. The prep for this season opener wasn't ideal. I didn't do a top speed session on the week leading up to it. And I felt like this is where my race really struggled. I felt like I had a cracking start, felt really good, really sharp. Hamstrings were maybe a tiny bit tight, but I felt like I didn't really get up to top speed. For the whole indoor season, I sort of structured my season that I would have a race every 2 weeks, and it worked out exactly like that. So I had a good week to kind of deload, recover, and then build up to the next race. So I had the London Indoor Games 2 weeks after my season opener in early Feb, and I ran 2 seasons best. I got a 7.22 and a 7.20. In the 7.20, I actually tweaked my right hamstring. I thought it was a very small pull, very small strain. This happened about 40 meters and I still managed to get a season's best. So that was a really good sign. Felt really good and sharp. So I rehabbed the hamstring for a week. Luckily, it wasn't anything major. And then I had another week to build up to my next open. I think in that second race, if I hadn't have tweaked my hamstring, I would have got a 7.1, which is what I was after. So 2 weeks later at the Windsor Open, I got this 7.1 in the first race, 7.19, and I was in the fastest race at Windsor. I knew that I had a chance to win the second race. I think this gave me a lot of motivation, a lot of adrenaline, big boost, and the competition really helps me run fast. And I got a new PB in this race of 7.12. It was also the first race and only race that I won in the indoor season, but I was absolutely over the moon with this, breaking a 3-year-old PB, and the first time I'd ever got a PB in the 60 meters. Felt like all the training and all the hard work was really worth it. Actually ended up being the fastest time of the day, so I was very happy about that. The week after the PB, I then went on a ski trip, which in terms of preparing for a sprint season isn't ideal, but I love skiing. It was a great trip, and it felt like the perfect time to have it following the PB. So I didn't train for a week, and either side of the ski trip I didn't do sprinting because I didn't want to get injured or pull a muscle first session back. So it worked out that I didn't sprint for about a week and a half. And I think this showed in my next race, which was the Sutcliffe Indoor 60s. I got a 7.18, so another 7.1, cannot complain, and then a 7.2. But I feel like I would have kept progressing had I not done the ski trip. I did feel very, very sluggish. It was like my CNS wasn't ready to sprint, and my hamstrings were super tight. So to still run a 7.1 with all those non-optimal things, I think was a really good sign. I then had 2 weeks to the county champs. In one of my block start sessions, I hit a lot of PBs. I equaled my PB of 2.01 to 10 meters. I got a new PB in the 20 meters of 3.17. I then equaled my old PB of 3.19 in the 20 meters with a big stumble. I then got 0.02 off my 30 meter PB, 4.21, the PB being 4.19. I then got 2 new 40 meter PBs of 5.32 and 5.26. The 40 meter PBs aren't so much of a big deal because I don't run loads of 40 meters in training, or I haven't done this winter. And I think my PB was from a curve rep or something. But then we had the Surrey County Champs. Now my target was to get to the final, as I haven't got to a final since 2022. So that was the main goal. Obviously I would have loved to have run a 7.0, a PB, 6.9. How the season was kind of playing out, I thought maybe that was less likely, but I thought I almost had to run a 7.0 or a 7.1 to get into the final. It just worked out on the day that I didn't. So for the heats I got a 7.34, shut it down probably about 30-40 meters. So it's my slowest time of the year, but it wasn't me going all out. And then in the semis I got a 7.20, which is about what I've been running apart from my PB, and just got into the final. I then ran even faster again in the final, 7.15. for my second fastest time of the year. Sort of mixed emotions about this. The fact that I got to the final around my second fastest time, I worked through the rounds well, hit my fastest time in the final when I wanted to hit it. That's exactly what I was targeting for that day. But obviously I started this series to break 7, knowing this would be my final race. I did think I was going to have another one in a week and a half or 2 weeks, but it turned out it was a 100-meter event, not a 60-meter event. I was maybe a little bit disappointed with my final time. However, when I made the switch to go into the track more because I needed the light because the clocks went back, I don't think my body was ready for more track. I was still doing a lot of training on grass, and I think that overstimulated my shins, my hamstrings, and I wasn't getting PBs in training really after that. I think that was probably the first hurdle. I think the second hurdle was the trip to Australia with the jet lag and the food poisoning and not running as fast as I thought I would in warm weather training. The third hurdle was the injury at the London Indoor Games, tweaking my hamstring. And the fourth hurdle was the ski trip. And I don't think I progressed how I thought I would have progressed throughout the year. And I think had things been different, maybe being fully optimal, I really think I would have nabbed a 7.0 and been knocking on the door of sub 7 this year. But I'm not a professional sprinter. I do this as a hobby. And social plans, holidays, work, these are all things that ultimately do affect performance. And I think this year I've really managed things very well, getting myself back into PB shape following 2 whole years, 2023 and 2024, didn't get a single PB. So to hit a PB now is very exciting. So in terms of the training, to 10 meters, I got a 2.01, which is a PB. 20 meters, I got 3.17, which is a PB. 30 meters, I got 4.19, which is a PB. 40 meters, I got 5.26, which is a PB. 60 meters, I got a 7.31, which is a PB. Didn't get a time for 50 meters, but everything else was a PB, so I'm sure it would have been a PB as well. All of those are with reaction time because I've now got the e-starter with my Freelap timing system, but all the times are going to be about 0.2 seconds slower, 0.15, 0.2 seconds slower than if I was timing it without reaction time. There'll be a link to my review of the Freelap timing system in the description below. In terms of my splits, obviously we got the 2.01 with reaction time. 10 to 20, my season's best was 1.13, my PB being 1.11, so very close. 20 to 30 meters, my season's best was 1.03, again very close to my PB of 1.00. 30 to 40, my season's best was 1.00, very close to my PB of 0.98. 40 to 50 meters, new PB of 0.96. 50 to 60 meters, new PB of 0.97. And using the 10 meter splits, from my season's best, it predicts a 7.10, which is pretty much what I got this year with the 7.12 PB. And if you include all my PBs, it's 7.03. Looking at 30 meter splits, obviously the first 30 is the 30 meter PB of 4.19. The 30 to 60 meter split is 3.00, which actually equaled my PB from a couple of years ago. 30 meter splits put together predict a 7.19, both season's best and PBs because they're the same. And again, pretty much exactly what I was running this year. So between the 10 meter and the 30 meters, they predict between a 7.1 and a 7.19. And I ran 7.12, 7.15, 7.18, 7.19, 7.20 3 times, I think, 7.22, 7.24, 7.25. So I think these metrics are really, really good predictor of what I'm actually going to run in the race. When it comes to the all-out 60, I think it's a lot harder to put it together in training. So that 7.31 PB in training is about 0.15 off what I was running in my races. So overall, this is looking really good for outdoors. When I ran that 7.14 in 2022, I went on to run an 11.08 and a 10.98 windy. Also an 11.01 windy and 11.04 windy. So right on the edge of that sub 11 and actually getting it once, but just with a plus 2.5 wind. So that's my main target for the rest of the year. This summer, I want to break 11 seconds wind legal in the 100 meter sprint. So that brings me on to my next series. The Breaking 7 series is going to be coming to a close for now. Don't worry, we'll be back next year where I'll be going for that sub 7 again. But now my focus is on the 100 meters for the summer, where I'm going to want to break 11 seconds in the 100 meter sprint this outdoor season in 2025. So I'll be documenting my training from next week in a new series, Breaking 11. So if you enjoyed this video, or you enjoyed this series, or you like the content on my channel, then please feel free to drop a like, subscribe, and comment anything you'd like to see in future videos or anything that you think about this video. As well as my weekly training videos, I try and get non-sprinters to run 100 meters to see how fast they can run it. And we've currently got 2 episodes up already with a third one on the way. I also review anything I use for my sprinting, such as spikes, my timing system, recovery equipment. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. Thank you everyone who's been following my journey. Thank you to all of you who have subscribed, liked, commented, and watched my videos. I've really enjoyed doing it, so I'm going to continue doing it for the outdoor season. Hopefully my training gives you an insight into how sprinters train. Maybe you can pick up some things for your own training. But either way, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.